right, guys, today's topic, Nexus letters, medical Nexus letters, and one step further to that, independent medical Nexus letters, okay? Sometimes referred to as an independent medical opinion, a Nexus letter, a Nexus statement, a Nexus opinion. They all mean the same thing, okay? They're all one in the same. Why do you need a Nexus letter? Let's start there first. Okay, let's talk about why you might need a medical Nexus letter. So remember, there's three things under the law, okay? If you believe you are deserving of VA disability compensation benefits by law, you have to meet three things, okay? Number one, you must have a medical diagnosis of a disability or a condition, and that must be documented in a medical record, okay? I'll say that again. You have to have a medical diagnosis of a disability or condition, and that's got to be documented somewhere. Your service treatment records, meaning your active duty military medical records, regardless of what branch you were in, you should have either been given a huge packet when you left, or if you were fortunate enough to separate or retire after 2005, you should have some electronic medical records, okay? Those are called service treatment records by the VA, okay? If you don't have a diagnosis in there, you're screwed, okay? However, there's hope, okay? Because you can also have a diagnosis in VA medical records, okay? VA treatment records, or any private records, okay? Now, the reason this is important is a lot of vets we serve are older, okay? You're a Korean War vet, you're a Vietnam vet, you're a Gulf War vet. You were in prior to service treatment records going digital, okay? So you don't have electronic copies of your service treatment records, or maybe the records you do have are about this big with no, diagnosis of any conditions, not even subjective complaints of sleep apnea, migraines, PTSD, back condition, plantar fasciitis, GERD, right? IBS, whatever the condition is, there's nothing, okay? I'm telling you right now, if you file a standard VA disability claim, okay, and you don't have your service treatment records, or your service treatment records are incomplete, and you don't have a diagnosis of disabilities or conditions, I can guarantee you are going to get denied. I can guarantee it, guys. It's a recipe for disaster. So you don't have to have your service treatment records, by the way, but you need to have some proof, okay, in a competent, credible, objective medical record. Service treatment records, VA medical records, private records. Okay, you can go get a diagnosis from a private physician, right? Maybe you go to an ER, maybe you've got private insurance through your current employer, and you have a primary care physician at a facility. Maybe you've got a specialist that you see. Maybe you're going to private psychologists or psychiatrists for therapy. Okay, that's okay too. But you got to get copies of those records, because you're going to need them to submit as substantiating evidence of the medical conditions you suffer from in support of your claim, okay? All right. So that's number one, got to have a medical diagnosis. And by the way, if you don't have one and you can't get one, we have a medical doctor on our team, okay? He's an emergency medicine specialist. Dude is unbelievable. He's amazing, okay? He's a medical doctor. He can actually diagnose you as long as you go through an examination with him, okay? So we talked about number one, medical diagnosis. Number two, the Nexus. Okay, if you've never heard the word Nexus before, I want you to just say it out loud right now. Nexus. Brian, the Nexus. Okay. Nexus is a fancy term that simply means link. It means that there's a logical link or connection between something that happened in your service and something you're suffering from today. Okay, so think of it this way. something A happened, maybe it's event A, and because of event B, or excuse me, because of event A, you are now suffering from condition B, okay? This happens, it led to this, okay? If you picture those two things like this and there's a straight line connecting them, that straight line is the nexus. That's the logical link or the connection, okay? Now by law, codified in federal law, 38 CFR, in order to be eligible for VA disability compensation benefits under the law, a disability that you suffer from today must have been caused or made worse by your active duty military service. Okay, so I said caused, meaning the military is the reason you have sleep apnea. Maybe the deployment is the reason you have PTSD, okay? Caused your condition or made it worse. Okay, that's what's referred to as aggravation, okay? So for example, let's say you came into the service with flat feet, pes planus, right? Maybe you had a waiver, but you came in to the military with a pre-existing condition, right? Pre-existing flat feet. You had it before the service, okay? Well, they're probably not going to say that the military caused the flat feet because you already had it, right? The military wouldn't cause the flat feet because you already have on a record that you had to get a waiver to come in to service with flat feet, right? However, just because you have flat feet or pes planus or bunions or foot deformities or calcified heel spurs does not mean there's any pain, right? Functional limitation or loss. There's no limitation of flexion. There may not be even any pain, right? So in that case, you'd probably get service connected at 0% if you went for like, plantar fasciitis or pes planus or whatever, okay? However, you came into the service with flat feet, you had no issues until you wore those dang stupid black combat boots all over the place with no insoles, including multiple combat tours, right? And maybe you developed severe foot pain and heel pain, plantar fasciitis, whether it's unilateral or bilateral. And you develop that because of your service, your job, your function, a deployment, a training incident, okay? And now you've got that severe pain, right? Well, you now qualify for VA disability benefits under the law because the military aggravated the pre-existing condition. Okay, that's what the made worse part of the nexus statement of the law means, okay, the nexus section of the law. That's what aggravation is. The military service made it worse. It didn't cause it, it made it worse, okay? And then, of course, there's also secondary service connection. And what that means is a disability that you suffer from today caused or made another disability condition worse, okay? So let me give you an example. We know medically that almost the entire musculoskeletal system is connected, right? Your body is a big system that works together. So for example, if you've got major issues with a lumbar strain, right, which is a back condition, maybe you've got a lumbar strain that your service connected for at 10%, you've got some pain, you've got a little limitation of range of motion, but that lumbar strain is causing you to have major issues with your knees, okay? Maybe major issues with your feet, maybe major issues with your neck, a cervical strain, okay? If you're already service connected for that lumbar strain in your back at 0% or higher, you could file a secondary VA disability claim for the neck, the knees, the hip, the feet, the shoulders, the arms, to say that my service-connected lumbar caused or made all of these other conditions worse in my body, right? So they're not directly related to, your active duty military service, they're the result of, they were caused or made worse by a current service-connected disability in your body, guys. And here's a secret tip on secondary disability claims. In secondary service connection, almost anything in the human body can be connected to something else. The entire human body is a big system with components that all work together. If any one thing goes or breaks or hurts, it's probably going to affect something else, okay? So I want you to really be thinking about that. One we see all the time is obstructive sleep apnea secondary to mental health conditions, right? Especially PTSD. There's a way to do it, okay? We can help you do that inside of VA Claims Insider Elite, okay? Now for step 2, if you've already been denied service connection before, okay, you've already filed either as a primary disability for direct service connection, or maybe you've already tried obstructive sleep apnea secondary to PTSD. You've already tried connecting your feet to your hips, right, or your back to your neck, or your GERD to your IBS, right, or your migraines to your PTSD. You've already tried those connections and you've been denied, right? Or maybe you haven't tried yet, but now what you're hearing from me, you're like, light bulb goes on. Holy crap, Brian! I think I qualify for a lot of stuff now. How do I do that? Okay. Component 2, pillar 2, the Nexus part of the law is the most common reason why veterans' disability claims are denied. I'm going to say that one more time. Okay. Your inability, the veteran's inability to prove the logical link or connection, the nexus between either the primary disability in your service or the secondary disability and the condition you're trying to connect it to, okay? Your inability to prove that with objective medical evidence on an at least as likely as not basis, okay, which I'll talk about in a second, because you couldn't prove it or because you got a horrendous, terrible, crappy, sucky, garbage C&P examiner, you were denied service connection. That's the most common denial reason we see, okay? Denial of service connection, right? So if you log into eBenefits, you log into va.gov, and you see things in there that say not service connected, that's what that means. That means the VA denied you service connection. Okay, I have one in my file. I'll talk about that real quick. Because of an incident that happened in Afghanistan, as well as some other issues as a hockey player at the academy with concussions and migraines, there was some concern from one of the doctors that there could be a mild TBI, okay, traumatic brain injury. I don't think I have a TBI. I never did. I balked at it. I said, I don't have a TBI. I don't want to do an exam. They sent me in for an evaluation, right? They pulled it out. My VSO actually filed back in 2012 a primary disability for TBI. I did not have a diagnosis. I don't think I have TBI. I had no objective evidence I had TBI. I don't even know why they went for it, okay? But the TBI was filed on my behalf, and it came back as not service connected, okay, which it should have been, because I didn't even have a diagnosis of TBI, nor did I think it was related to service, even if I would have had a TBI. Okay, so that's an example of something that maybe correctly ended up not service connected. Okay, but how many times do you have things in your file that say not service connected when you go, wait a second, I was a flight line engine mechanic for 8 years, and you're denying service connection for the ringing in my ears for tinnitus? Are you freaking kidding me? Right? I mean, your MOS right there is on the list, right, of the likelihood of noise exposure, right? Loud noise exposure. So hearing loss, tinnitus. If you've been denied for something like that, good Lord, refile it again with a medical nexus opinion, okay? Also called a medical nexus letters, okay? Nexus letters. What is a medical nexus letter? Let's talk about this for a second. A medical nexus letter, I'm going to read this. This is a definition, by the way, that I made up, okay? I actually spent a lot of time crafting this one sentence. But the reason I did this is because I didn't really find a good definition of a nexus letter online. Okay, what is a VA nexus letter? What is an independent medical opinion? What is a medical opinion, right? Which we'll talk about the difference between an independent medical opinion and a medical opinion, okay, because there is a difference. Here is the definition of a VA nexus letter, okay? And don't worry, you can watch the recording or read our blog post. A VA nexus letter is an evidence-based document prepared by a qualified medical professional, such as a PAC, okay, so a certified physician's assistant, or an MD, a medical doctor, that helps to establish a connection between the claimed in-service disease or injury and the veteran's current disability, okay? Again, you have to establish a connection medically, okay? Medical etiology, a medical connection between something you're claiming and the disability you have, okay? So let me explain this in plain English. Let's say I have migraine headaches. I've got severe prostrating migraine headaches, and I filed for it a couple years ago, and the VA denied me service connection, right? Here's the denial. There's no evidence in the veteran's active duty service treatment records of any diagnosis of headaches or migraines, no subjective complaints of headaches or migraines, okay? So you get denied because you didn't know any different, and here we are, now you're going, man, I do have severe prostrating migraines. I do have a diagnosis now in my VA records, okay? So you could probably service connect that, the migraines, secondary to something else. Maybe something like post-traumatic stress disorder, okay? Maybe something like depression, insomnia. Maybe you're connecting migraines to GERD, or migraines to sleep apnea, or migraines to IBS, right? There's tons of connections for migraines. And so if you want to do that, though, you've been previously denied, or maybe you just want to do it right the first time, you need to get a nexus letter, an independent medical nexus letter from a competent and credible medical provider, okay, who can establish medically that there's a connection between your migraines and the other service-connected disability, okay, like PTSD or blah, blah, blah. Now notice in this definition, I said evidence-based, okay? I did not say opinion. I'm gonna say that one more time. A nexus letter is an evidence-based document, okay? Now, the provider will give their nexus opinion in a statement inside of the letter, which is crucial, okay? But that's not the most important part. The most important part is the evidence, the case studies, the BVA case law, the medical research, the veteran's own treatment records and symptoms, the result of the independent medical examination that are then put together in a fact-based order that leads the writer to a conclusion, okay? That could say something like, in conclusion, it is my medical opinion, right, that the veteran's obstructive sleep apnea is at least as likely as not due to their service-connected post-traumatic stress disorder, specifically the side effects of the medications they're taking to manage their depression, anxiety, anger, blah, 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 okay? Now you heard me say it again, at least as likely as not, okay? That means tie goes to the runner, okay? So for example, if anybody's a baseball fan, right? If you're running to first, you just hit a ground ball toward third base and you start sprinting towards first. For me, I don't sprint anymore. It'd be more like a half-hearted limp, okay? So I'm limping to first base, right? If my foot hits the bag at the exact moment that the first baseman catches the ball, okay? The umpire is going to go, safe, right? Tie goes to the runner. It's the same concept, okay? It's codified in 38 CFR. It's called the benefit of the doubt rule, okay? Some people call it the benefit of the doubt doctrine. It's been defined differently. But what that means is when all things are equal, okay, there's an equal weighting of positive evidence in the favor of the veteran and negative evidence going against the veteran. The tie, the benefit goes to the veteran. Okay, that's the benefit of the doubt doctrine. Okay. Why are Nexus letters so effective? Nexus letters are so effective at helping you prove the nexus or service connection because they influence the compensation and pension examiner's opinion, okay, most of the time. And then it can also influence legally and within the regulation, the VA rater's final disability decision, okay, because there's that competent, credible medical evidence in the Nexus letter to help you establish service connection on an at least as likely as not basis. Now, the question we get all the time is, Brian, got it. I know what a Nexus letter is, but my VA doctor sucks and won't write one. I don't have a private doctor that I like. I don't know how to structure this thing. How do I get a medical Nexus letter? Guys, that's what we do. Okay? That is why I founded VA Claims Insider. The secret to VA disability compensation claims is medical evidence in the form of disability benefit questionnaires and qualified, credible, competent medical nexus opinions, okay? That's the linchpin. That's the secret. That is how you are going to get a higher VA rating in less time. It's how you're going to prove service connection. It's how you're going to prove the severity of symptoms. It's how you're going to prove you have a diagnosis, okay? That's the secret sauce, okay? Now, you can get them one of two ways. You can hopefully have one of your own private providers do Nexus letters for you. That's one way. And you can use our templates. You can ask a VA doctor, good luck, okay? Or you can get your butt inside a VA Claims Insider Elite and go, you know what? It doesn't cost me any money to start. I'm gonna give these guys a shot. I am underrated. I am stuck. I am sick of fighting the VA. I have been denied service connection. You need a Nexus letter. Okay, how do you write a winning VA Nexus letter? Okay, I put together these 4 tips based upon our experience, what we see, our medical training. Okay, how do you write a winning VA Nexus letter? Number 1, the very best medical Nexus letters, guys, they're short and sweet. They're short, factual, to the point, and evidence-based. Not just opinion-based, it's evidence-based, okay? And number 2, the doctor, the medical professional, the PA, the NP, whoever, the MD, cites and has listed applicable medical research and studies and case law to back up their opinions, okay? So that they're not just baseless opinions, they're fact, or they're at least reasonably linked with a conclusion, okay, that could lead the reader to go, yeah, that makes sense, okay? That medically makes sense. There's a connection between condition A and condition B, okay? So in your Nexus letter, you gotta have some applicable medical research studies. How do you get those? Go to Pubmed.gov for free. Guys, it's a free government website. You can search for all kinds of medical connections. Okay, that's your free hack for today. Go to Pubmed.gov. You can do your own research as well up front on medical connections between conditions based upon the latest and greatest research, okay? In part 3 of the Nexus letter, the doctor must express their opinion, okay, this is where that opinion part is important, about how they reached the conclusion of their Nexus statement with at least as likely as not, Okay, that's 50-50. There's also more likely than not. That means there's a greater than 50% chance. Okay, but the minimum threshold you need is at least as likely as not. Okay, that's in part 3. And then in part 4, the doctor must sign and date their letter, or sign and date their name, and they have to list their medical credentials. Okay, hey, I'm a board certified whatever sleep specialist. Okay, I'm a certified physician's assistant. Okay, so again, the best Nexus letters, they're short, they're sweet, they're factual, they're evidence-based. They talk about the how and the why that the doctor reached their conclusion. Now, guys, I've heard of Nexus letters being 50 to 60 pages long. It's a bunch of garbage, okay? Less is more. Less is more. If you give the VA raters too much, guys, you're setting yourself up for disaster. They're very busy people. Tell them exactly what you want them to know. Okay, you make their lives easier, guess what's going to happen? You become infinitely more likely to get the rating you deserve in less time. Right? Man, and my buddy Rich Sheminsky, such a beautiful human being, dude. One of our best, Richard the Goat Sheminsky. He said, you know what? You give them exactly what they need. You probably just made their day. That VA rater is going to get to go home early today. Right? So think about this, guys. I talk to VA raters weekly, okay? Fellow service-disabled veterans, just like you and me, who work at the Department of Veterans Affairs as VA rating officials, okay? Whether they're VSRs or RVSRs. We talk all the time about things that are going on, okay? That's part of why we call ourselves VA Claims Insider. We get information that nobody else does, and we're sharing it with you freely and openly. Okay, guess what? The average VA rater is a GS-12, okay? General government civilian, GS-12. They make about, 60 to 80,000 bucks a year. They work their asses off in a low-performing culture at the VA, unfortunately, and they're measured on everything. They've got quality metrics on every freaking keystroke that they make, guys. It's a high-pressure environment for these raters, right? Not to mention the quality checks, the after actions, all their decisions are being checked. They have to maintain certain accuracy levels over time. It's a stressful job, okay? Well, how happy do you think that person's going to be who's expected to produce 15 different rating decisions for 15 different veterans per day if you send them 2,000 pages of medical records? They got to go through it all, guys. It's going to delay the claim. It's going to highly likely result in a denial or you being underrated, okay? Or it's going to take forever. The easier you can make it for the VSR and the RVSR, the rater at the VA, the easier you can make it. Give them exactly what you want them to see. Here's my diagnosis. Here's my applicable Nexus letter. Here's my personal statement that backs up all these things. Maybe you have to have a buddy letter to substantiate symptoms. Here's why I believe this is this. Here's why I think this is service connected. Guys, guess what's going to happen? You think they're more likely to approve that claim or deny that claim? Let's see. Are they more likely to approve that claim or deny that claim? Approve, 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 approve. Yeah, you're right. So we talked about the Nexus letter. By the way, I have a great blog post out there. If you go to vaclaimsinsider.com/blog, guys, we're pumping out unbelievable original content every single day. Okay, there's a post out there talking about the 3 tips to find the best Nexus letter doctors. I talk about how to write a VA Nexus letter, how to write a winning VA Nexus letter, the statements of opinion, okay, all of that stuff. So if you want, absolutely, you want to go in depth, go to vaclaimsinsider.com/blog and read some of our free content, okay? Now, I did want to address one other thing before I take some questions from you guys, okay? Because I know we bash VA doctors a lot, okay? VA doctors work for the VA, they're civil servants, and they work for the Veterans Health Administration, the VHA, okay? Many of them are very good doctors. Okay, they are. I've actually personally had great treatment at the VA. Okay, and I'm very thankful for that. And so one thing I found that was really interesting. Okay, and a lot of vets want to know, will VA doctors write Nexus letters for veterans? Okay, and the answer is no. Most VA doctors will not write Nexus letters. So here's part of the reason. Part of it, I think, is they just don't know, right? They're lazy. They don't want to get bogged down with paperwork. They don't understand their real role and job. They just want to treat patients and not provide documentation. Okay, got it. But some of them believe that under the law and according to VA regulation, that a VA doctor is considered hired in the service of VA, right? Hired in the service of VA. And that according to their own regulation, they do not qualify, they're not appropriate medical experts to provide an independent opinion, okay? It's almost as if they see a little bit of a conflict. Now, I disagree with that, but I'm telling you what some of them believe, is that I could do this for you, veteran, but I'm not truly an independent examiner, right? I'm biased, perhaps, because they're hired in the service of the VA, okay? So that's something to think about, is there is some basis for why the VA doctors tell you that, you know, I can't do this for you, okay, whether you agree with them or not. So chances are, again, you're going to need to find a private medical provider, private independent medical provider to do these letters for you, okay? Again, that's what we do at VA Claims Insider Elite. You need medical nexus letters, you need DBQs, get your butt in our membership program. You can start free today at VAClaimsinsiderelite.com. You can also open up the YouTube description. There's a whole bunch of links and resources in there as well, okay? Brian Reese here, the VA Claims Insider, Air Force Service Stable Vet. I'm out from Austin, Texas. I'm going to leave you with one thing. Boom!